Hey, it's Natasha.
And Khalil.
And we are the co-hosts of
WokeNFree.
Thank you for tuning in to our 113th episode of WokeNFree. If you've been tuning in every week for WokeNFree Wednesday, you know that WokeNFree is all about being real and honest with each other and you. We talk about everything and anything important to us, you, the world, and nothing is off the table. This week, we are talking all about why AI is not the end of humanity. Ooh, deep stuff, guys. But before we dive deeper into that subject, y'all know what time it is. It's my monologue time.
Nice.
Yes, let's enjoy. So first, have you downloaded the episode that you are listening to right now from WokeNFree.com through the Podbean app? If not, please make sure you are downloading and listening to each episode. Whether it's on Podbean or you're doing it on other platforms, please do, because we appreciate the support. Next, if you are happening to catch the show on other platforms like iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, all the other platforms we're on, make sure that you are not just listening to the episode, but you also are following and subscribing to the show on those platforms. We greatly appreciate your support. So please make sure you do. Of course, we are not anyone's dirty little secret. Sharing is caring. Please share this episode out on social media. You can also word of mouth, any type of, support and sharing is greatly appreciated, but it's also just like freaking awesome because then we can have more people become woke and free. How amazing is that? So that's really, really cool. And then of course, if you are a fan of social media and you want to talk to us, you should really find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and even YouTube at WokeNFree, and you can share breaking news, you can share episode ideas, and you can also, if you have like guest recommendations, you can do that there, but you can also do that on our website. And then of course, lastly, we not only want you to listen and enjoy to each episode, but we want to hear from you when it comes to the feedback. What do you ultimately think about the show? So you can give your total review of the show on any of the platforms we're on. So whether you're doing this on iTunes, you want to do it on TuneIn, you want to do it on SoundCloud, you want to do it on iHeartRadio, you want to do it on Spotify, any of the platforms. Again, if you go to WokeNFree.com and if you click on the listen tab, that's all the different platforms you'll find the show on, and you can pick your platform of choice to review us.
Each week we would like to share a little bit about us before we dive into the topic for the episode. Last week we shared which would you rather give up, junk food or television. This week we are going to ask, in light of Halloween, would you rather dress up in a couple's costume or dress up your pet?
It's such a creepy and crazy question, Khalil. I can't.
It's something that only you could come up with. It's from a mind of yours.
Hardly.
Seems like because you're a big Halloween fan.
I am a deep Halloween fan.
Exactly.
And sadly, I do nothing for the holiday, but That's love sad. It every single day. Halloween is the best day of the year. It's amazing. To answer the question, because we all got things to do, guys.
All right, if you say so.
Ultimately, I would say probably dressing up one of our pets, preferably the dog, so that our cat doesn't attack us with his ferocious teeth. Because we are constantly, you and I are not necessarily always on the same schedule, and we're doing a million things during the day. So to me, the idea of us wearing a couple's costume and not being together for most of the day, and it doesn't make any sense, because you're going to be half a costume and I'd be half a costume, and then we're going to have to constantly explain what the other half is. To me, it just seems ludicrous. Why not just put the dog in a costume, take a picture, and call it a day? I think that makes the most sense in my mind. But
that seems crazy, though, because you can do the couple's costume depending on what you are. You don't need the other half. You can just say what you are.
Depends.
And then when you're together, it just makes oh, nice, you match the costume. But it doesn't have to be something like you're one end of the horse and I'm the other end. That wouldn't make any sense.
What end would you be, Khalil?
The best part, I would say.
The rear, but sure.
Yeah, me, I would definitely do a couple's costume, because you could be Bride of Frankenstein and I could be the Frankenstein's monster. See, it's like that.
But see, I still feel like that needs explanation, but okay.
It doesn't. I mean, I could be Dracula, you can be a bat.
This is, okay.
That's a couple's one too, I think.
You know what I want to say.
Because remember, he had those bats that were in his castle or something? I think he did.
Frankenstein.
No, so that's what's good about a couple's costume. I wouldn't do the pet, because the pets usually get mad about the costumes. So
they get mad at
the couples make the most sense to me. I'm going to go that way. And then you can wear it when you go out together. It's good. You ready to jump into it, then?
Woohoo!
Is AI going to end the human race?
Yes. I'm kidding. I kid. I joke. I kid.
That was easy.
No, actually, I don't think that's going to be the case. So I found a couple of articles that had some really interesting information. So more info to share with you guys. So according to futurism.com, artificial intelligence, first, just to kind of lay out the groundwork for people, is software that's built to learn or problem solve. The process is typically performed in the human brain. Digital assistants like Amazon's Alexa and Apple's Siri, along with Tesla's Autopilot, are all powered by AI. Some forms of AI, we can even create visual art or write songs. And then the article kind of goes on to talking about how AI has the potential to be revolutionary. The automation could transform the way that we work by replacing humans with machines and software. And then further developments in the area of self-driving cars are poised to make driving a thing of the past. Artificial intelligent shopping assistants could even change the way we shop. Humans have controlled these aspects of our lives, so it makes sense to be a bit weary of letting an artificial system take over. But I think if you take a step back and see the real value that this is bringing and to save time, that it's not something to fear, but probably something to jump from the rooftop about. So that I thought was interesting. There's so much in this article, guys, so you definitely want to click on all the links at WokeNFree.com. There is another reference in the New Yorker where there's commentary that says, many people in tech point out that artificial narrow intelligence, or ANI, has grown ever safer and more reliable, certainly safer and more reliable than we are. Self-driving cars and trucks might save hundreds of thousands of lives every year. For them, the question is whether the risk of creating an omnicompetent Jeeves would exceed the combined risks of the myriad nightmares, pandemics, asteroid strikes, global nuclear warfare, etc., that an AGI could sweep aside for us. So that's really talking to the idea that, like, even though people fear this new type of technology and this intelligence, like, ultimately people need to get realistic as to just kind of sometimes how humans suck, and technology doesn't necessarily suck as much because it's not as emotional or flawed as the human components are, whether that's our hands, whether that's our brains, our attention span, ... So ultimately, from what I garnered from the articles, I don't think it's something that, I don't think people outrightly say it's going to cause the end of humanity. I think they acknowledge that that is definitely a fear among certain people, but overwhelmingly, like, scientists and people who appreciate automation and futuristic technology are like, yay, rah, rah, rah. They're not like, oh my God, this is the end.
So you think then it's not the end?
I think human beings are capable of killing ourselves. Like, I don't think we need to.
That's what's interesting.
Yeah, I don't think we need to postulate and figure out what could kill us. I think we're more than capable of killing ourselves. And technically, if AI is an invention of man, then in theory still, right? Like, then even if it did kill us, that would be still our own fault. So ultimately, no, I think we're gonna, if there's an end to humanity anytime soon or far, it's gonna be by our own doing.
Yeah, most likely. And I just want to mention, like, the original definition of artificial intelligence as said in Encyclopedia Britannica. And it says that it's the ability of a digital computer or computer-controlled robot to perform tasks commonly associated with intelligent beings. So so they don't describe it as software or that stuff. They kind of just look at it as a whole, as what it's trying to emulate or simulate, and that's in being capable of doing things that intelligent beings doing, namely humans, since we haven't, like, met aliens, you know.
Not as yet, yeah. Or publicly.
Yeah, as far as we know. So really it's emulating the human intelligence. So that's like the official definition. And to really think that it's going to be the end of us, I mean, like you were mentioning, there's other dire things that probably would be the end of us before AI. I think AI would actually help us live on longer because it'll
Most
solve
likely.
a lot of these issues that are plaguing us, you know. I think we have more issues than the AI to worry about, just like you were mentioning, you found in the article. I think what'll happen actually, AI is going to supplement humans, and I think it'll be like become a part of humans in terms of like mixing man and machine, and will be like more cyborg in nature.
Nice.
Will be something greater, you know, kind of like how our cells make us up. I think that machines will be like our new cells, and AI will be kind of like the brains behind those cells. So that's what I envision as the AI takeover, is more of just AI being
integration.
Yeah, it's just going to be a part of us. It's not going to be something scary. I think that
scares people, because the idea of not just being yourself anymore, right? And
not being made up of random cells.
It questions the idea of what is human, what is not, right? If we then start to integrate with technology to that degree, how much of us is us versus how much of us is them? And
because if your brain, imagine if you're a cyborg and your brain is intact and it's just all your other cells are made of these like robot controlled AI things, it's kind of like the similar thing to now. It's like, I can't tell, all right, skin cell 1 grow now. So that's what I see in the future. It's like the AI would take over. It'd be your skin cells now. It'd be your heart. It'd take over all the organ function. So now your brain doesn't even have to command individual cells. The cells on their own.
So you're saying you could actually train your brain to be able to work on other non-menial tasks.
Yeah, your brain wouldn't need to work on moving your heart or anything. It'll just.
That's very interesting, actually.
Yeah, so that's what I think would happen. So AI may eventually take over, but it's not going to actually end humans. It's going to supplement humans, and it's good. Human and AI will be one.
But you know where and I guess maybe this
that's like
to
an
our
ultimate
next thing.
movement.
Ultimately, I think though, like because of like the employment implication of the automation, I think by people losing jobs to automated jobs completed by computer and technology, I think that's probably what's one of the fears as why people are like, oh no, right? Because it's like, why hire a shopper's assistant when you can have AI do it? And then what's that person now have to do, right? So that's, I think, part of the fear.
It's kind of like how the car, it kind of killed the
horse and
horse and carriage. Yeah. You don't need somebody who can fix that. It kind of took away from the train. It's like, things go on and new jobs come up. Someone's got to like fix the AI. Someone's got to fix the machines.
True. Exactly.
Until the machines fix itself. And then still there's always... So with software in general, and since AI is technically composed, it is composed of software at some point. The thing with that is there's always bugs. It's like, it's kind of like how nothing's perfect. Software is never perfect.
Sure.
So it can always be improved. So something's improving it. I mean, it could be improving itself, or it could be humans improving it. So
interesting.
It's something to think about.
Why ultimately then do you think people are fearing AI so much?
I have a couple of thoughts about it, and I think people fear like a more ideal entity. It's like people want to be the greatest, even though I know people have their religion and they're saying there's a greater power. They act like they're, the top stuff, and they'll throw out commands and say, oh, I know this and I know that. I'm the greatest. People do all that stuff. They don't act like there's anything greater. So I think the fear of AI is because they think, oh, now AI is that's the higher power now. And that's something that can just eliminate my need to exist. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a fear. Another one is, I think people think emotions are just like necessary for empathy. And then it can't actually be simulated, which once AI gets, evolved enough, I think AI can have emotions. That can be programmed in. It could simulate it. I know it's a hard thing to conceptualize, but
no, there's a formula.
If you have enough information
or a sequence of actions,
you have enough information, you could say in this case, this is what an emotional being would do. So
to be honest, we need to map our emotions more, because I think this idea of just like, oh, it's our feelings That's not cutting it. I mean, it's 2019. I think we have to have a better grasp of our feelings.
That's being worked on. They're monitoring brain waves while you exhibit certain emotions. So that is it's being mapped as they're trying to. You just gotta do it a lot more times.
Like, could you map like love, right?
Yeah,
like,
all that could be mapped.
like whoa. Like,
why is that scary? I mean, I know why people are scared of it, but to me,
because it demystifies it, right? Before it was this kind of evasive situation that just happened, and then if you're like, no, actually these chemicals are involved and these two things need to be done, like it makes it more clinical in nature and a lot less romantic and a lot
takes
less,
away the mystery
the
behind
allure
it.
of love. Like if love literally could be boiled down to an equation, I think people would be like, oh, that sucks.
And then if you could directly control it, you could be like, you're not going to love this anymore.
Yeah, like if you could
take
direct love. Wow, like
funny?
That's fascinating stuff.
That's the joys of AI, and I guess why people fear it. And then, like you were saying before, people just fear becoming obsolete because AIs will take over those essential functions that humans perform. Like most human tasks could be broken down to a certain set of steps that are performed over and over, and maybe there's a little bit of differentiation, but it comes down to just performing a set of tasks. So people are scared that the AI is just going to take over them doing those tasks, and then where does that leave them? So
Absolutely.
I understand that. And then I think the last one, and it's a big one, is that let's just look at our media. Media always portrays AI as eliminating humans. I don't see a lot of media where they're coexisting. There's usually, if they ever get into like the AI and that's the central point of it, AI is always doing something bad. Like only when it's in the background, they don't make it a big thing. Like if it's a background in a sci-fi thing, it's not a big thing, but you usually don't see like a movie about artificial intelligence and, humans prevailing. It's usually like it's them trying to take over and eliminate humans. So I think media is to blame for people fearing AI.
That's a great point. Yeah, absolutely. Similar to you, I have a little checklist of my own. So fear of the unknown. I think human beings, sadly, that's probably one of our weakest points and what holds us down as a race and as a people. We, instead of trying to discover and embrace and investigate, we naturally have this kind of fear of the unknown, and then we sometimes get violent, we get abrasive, we declare war. It's a little nutty. So that's one thing. Also, definitely. You mentioned, right, the not wanting to be obsolete, also not wanting to be replaced. When you talked about the idea of AI being technically potentially integrated within our bodies, I really could see people looking at the ramifications of that and just thinking, what happens if you're 95% AI or tech versus 5% human? Are you still human? Right? Like this whole valuation of who you are, your identity then changes. And so that's
if you have the same emotions and everything, your brain's still intact.
But if you're so much part AI, like it's like RoboCop, right? Like how much of
RoboCop
see,
like that. But they were controlling him and stuff.
Yeah, but then he broke free of it too.
Yeah, and he broke free.
So then it's similar
to that.
It's interesting. It's a sticky situation. Also the ramifications of what we can plan or expect. So when I think of this, I think of the idea of like Terminator, right? Like when they were creating before Terminator became Terminator, right? The black guy, the scientist, he created like this one piece, and they didn't know it was going to eventually turn into Terminator and turn into the practically the end of the world or the ending of the world. So can we, as we go down this road of like, yay, AI, can we fully articulate what are going to be the ramifications of these actions? Or do we fully know what's going to happen if we have all self-driving vehicles, self-driving trains, self-driving planes? Like, do we know what that's going to turn into, and what are the side
for any of our tech? And
that scares human beings, right?
And
that's a fear.
All of our tech has led to things that we couldn't imagine.
Exactly. And some good, some bad, right? Like it works in both ways. Also, the fear of trying something new. I think that's another thing that holds down people.
That's crazy.
That people are like, but it's been working this way, right?
I've always done this.
And I have to say that I definitely am one of those people. Like, I like to, if I pick a path, I know I've done this path, it makes sense, I've watched this movie this way, like, I like because human beings are creatures of habit, right? So it's just naturally ingrained in us. So when someone's like, hey, try this new thing, it's like a shock to the system. So there's that. True. And then also, I think there's going to be a fear of relying on something that may or may not always work, right? I think some of the funniest things with technology is when it works, it's great. And when it doesn't work, we're pissed off, we're upset, we're having emotional breakdowns, right? Like, you guys do not want to see me when we don't have Wi-Fi. Like, I start literally becoming Medusa. It's outrageous, as you know, Khalil, right? So,
that's life, though.
But so what do we do when we develop a system and that system doesn't always work all the time? Like,
the people fear that the technology breaks.
Because then they're like, in their back of their mind, they're like, see, if a person was doing it, it wouldn't, right? Like, they would say that, but
I know they say that, but the person's fallible as well. So that's what I think's so funny. It's like, it's not like the technology's kind of like, it's less fallible than the human. That's what the benefit of it. But yeah, everything can mess up and has a point of failure like that.
Absolutely.
That happens. So that's pretty funny, but that's a true good point that you make about people.
Thank you.
Hey there. Do you have a book that you want to share with the WokeNFree Nation? Are you a business owner looking to share your product or service with the podcasting world? Well, guess what? You can book an ad with us on our Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com. We're super excited to speak with you about curating a unique ad that will get your message across the WokeNFree platform. So go to the Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com. That is WokenFree.com, because WokeNFree is more than a podcast. It's a way of life and offers an innovative way to promote your platform in the exploding podcasting space.
Now we got to get into the other side, is what are the future benefits of AI that people could expect?
So I definitely had to look this up because, as you know, really? You are more on track with that stuff than I am. But there was an article, a recent Forbes article that kind of broke down several items that we should be on the lookout for when it comes to future benefits or current and future benefits from AI. And so again, all links that we refer to, guys, you can find them at WokeNFree.com. First on the list, enhances efficiency and throughput. Concerns about disruptive technologies are common. A recent example is automobiles. It took years to develop regulations around the industry to make it safe. That said, AI today is a huge benefit to society because it enhances our efficiency and throughput, while creating new opportunities for revenue generation, cost savings, and job creation. So that's one thing. So driving more efficiently, that's a now and a future. Also, like you mentioned, actually frees up humans to do what they do best. So we as humans won't have to be focused on some of the tedious tasks that we do in life, but we can have AI and I'm assuming like machines be able to do this. So that's super exciting. They also mentioned enhancing our lifestyle. So by, again, having more efficiency in businesses, automation through email, which people already are experiencing, smart homes, which will help to reduce energy usage, better security. That's going to also having marketing more targeted will help better healthcare thanks to better diagnoses. So there's all of that. So we have enhanced lifestyle. We also have supervising learning for telemedicine. So the article talks about how AI is a technology that can be used for both good and nefarious purposes. So there needs to be there's a need to be vigilant. The latest technology seems typically applied towards the wealthiest among us, but AI has the potential to extend knowledge and understanding to a broader population. For example, image-based AI diagnoses of medical conditions could allow for more comprehensive deployment of telemedicine. So doctors who work, I think virtually would be able to work with you based on the information you provide, and AI supports for that stuff. And then they go on to also there's a connectivity between creativity. And so AI has the biggest opportunity in our lifetime to extend and expand human creativity and ingenuity. The two main concerns that the fear mongers raise around AI leading to job losses in society and AI going rogue and taking control of the human race. Those concerns, as stated in the Forbes article, are not necessarily I think something that we, again, are, I think, are overly too concerned. I think we have to really weigh the pros and the cons against us. But overwhelming, I think that the benefits come down to lifestyle, comes down to efficiency, comes down to more opportunity. And so I think those are all like a yay, yay, yay. But what do you think?
Just on your last point, I'll just mention that there is actually, I don't know the exact name of it, but it's some sort of like AI consortium that's formed of like some of the tech leaders like Elon Musk and some others who just want to watch like the proliferation of AI to make sure it doesn't get out of hand. So there is concern.
So they are monitoring.
Yeah, there is some concern, but I think it's just to monitor to make sure there's like not so many like inequities kind of like put into the AI software as well. Good. Because that's an issue. You know, there has been some abuses of power with that. Kind of just like, so right now, most of our AI is based off of like a gathering of large amount of data. It's based off of big data sets and crunching numbers. So if you feed it the wrong sort of data set, you can definitely get it to sway certain ways.
Oh, interesting.
Sort of like giving, sort of like if I have an AI system that gives out sentences to like criminals, I can sway it so that all minorities get a longer criminal sentence. And I say, oh, the AI decided that. It wasn't because I fed it certain type of data that made it think that way. So things like that. So that's why.
That's a good point.
We do have to watch it because humans put in their own kind of.
Well, to speak to that point, then I would say that it's important that for the monitoring, people involved in monitoring then need to be reflective of our society. You can't have, similar to why we can't have a jury of 12 white men making decisions for people who don't necessarily reflect that audience. You need to, hopefully, with the people involved in the monitoring, reflect our society and reflect that they can speak to biases, because we all have biases and we all have certain things that may or may not always be PC. But we have to make sure, that you're saying that whatever's feeding into these systems is not going to work against more people than others. Like, that would be really crappy.
Yeah, you can't be putting your prejudices into, or you shouldn't be putting that into the AI that's being developed. It's not good.
Well, ultimately
it's going to lead to issues. Yeah, it'll lead to issues down the line. So it's definitely something to keep a watch. And in terms of medical, another thing I thought about was like sight and sound for all, because they are actually doing that. Like using AI, it's helping them develop the technology so that people who are deaf, they can hear, and then people who can't see at all can see. So
that's incredible.
It's through the power of AI. I think eventually you'll kind of like take away any like mishaps that people have, if they have any kind of like physical ailment type things that can be taken away. Wow. So it'll be a thing. It might not be an issue. Like if you lose your hand, you get like a robot controlled hand that works just as great as a normal hand.
And hopefully doesn't try to kill you at night. Yep.
They won't choke you to death either.
Like in a horror movie. Yeah.
like the hand in Addams Family that moves around on its
I
own.
love that. It's super scary.
That weird head. So but if you have that controlled by AI, it's going to be nice to you. And
hopefully.
Like do good things.
And like play Beethoven.
Yeah. Oh, well, see, then you can, look at that. That's another fringe benefit. You can actually play instruments that you never knew how to play.
That's really a cool idea. Yeah, absolutely.
That's a cool one. And then, and in terms of another physical enhancements, could be things like an AI controlled exoskeleton. So you can run faster, you can lift heavy things. And then without straining your back, because I know a lot of people have these back problems because we're lifting things.
Yes.
But if you put on your AI exoskeleton, you just lift things up and
so
there's no problem.
Can be Usain Bolt.
Yeah, you can run faster than him. You can leap over the bolt. You'll be
big up, Jamaica. Yeah. Big up. Yes, that's fantastic. So you can
do that. I think AI will help to reduce injuries, and that'll just be kind of like do it from analysis. It can stop certain accidents from happening. So
that's fantastic.
It'll take a look at all the data and say, oh, maybe we need to take away traffic from this area and just divert it down a different street. Stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Or maybe we're not going to let these planes fly at certain times because. So that usually causes issues. Things like that.
Yeah,
I think AI will be able to look at data and say. It'll reduce the incidents that we have, And it might even be able to reduce things like people tripping and falling on the sidewalk.
That's incredible. Wow.
If you're wearing like your glasses and it like identifies
that'd be cool. Like
that that's a hazard.
Step to the right, step to the left.
Yeah, it's like careful, you're about to stub your toe. You know, it does like that.
Oh,
and you're like, oh, thanks.
That would be so helpful. That would be
you don't
so
bang into
helpful.
stuff. You know, when you're walking, it always keeps you alert.
Yeah, I tend to do that, and I'm just like, usually my mental. In my mind, usually when that happens, something good also happens. So I'm just like, oh, I guess something good's happening. But I would prefer not to walk around with stubbed toes or pinched fingers.
Yeah.
I think that'd be kind of cool. Yeah.
To actually avoid the hazards. Wouldn't that be
shout
nice?
Out to
it's
Eric.
like a guardian angel kind
Absolutely.
of thing.
Here you go. Here you go.
Uh-oh. That's a different episode.
That's a different episode.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, shout out to Arizona. Anyone who works in traffic in Arizona, embrace AI, because the traffic out here is crazy, y'all. In this Phoenix area, it is nuts and half. It's like New York City traffic. It's really outrageous. So they definitely need to embrace some AI and help people learn how to divert traffic. Or I don't know if we need to build bridges. I don't know what we need, but traffic is crazy.
Yeah, we need AI to help just drive the cars for us.
Take out the human.
I think the human factor is the biggest problem in traffic.
That's your whole thing. I know
it's not, but that's even the people who are developing the technology. That's what they say. The human factor is not great.
I wonder, because the only thing I wonder about is that human beings, because we also drive slow and we drive fast. Now, if you have AI is always going to drive no greater than the speed limit. So I just wonder, can you...
So remember, the speed limit's going to be different with the AI. I don't know if it'll be higher or less. It depends on the area, because that'll be analyzed by the robot. But what'll happen is, the problem with driving is efficiency. So it's kind of like, you'll have people that they're driving too fast or driving too slow. They're not in the right lane. They're trying to get over. But imagine if it's like a unity of all cars. It's like, I know you need to get over here and you're trying to get here by this time. I'm going to allow you to do that. Or I'm just taking a lovely stroll through this area. I'm not going to get prioritized. So see how you can prioritize things?
Is anyone going to select, I'm just like shooting the shit? Like, in their car.
But you'll have to it's kind of like if you have a doctor's appointment, you get prioritized. If you have to be at work at 8 a.m.
And you think all the cars will be able to talk to each other and manage that while driving?
It's not that hard. I mean, look how many, well, you don't know, but there's a ton of like electronics inside a CPU, and that's all talking to each other technically. It's
all going to work, over Bluetooth? I mean, that's so weird.
You wouldn't use Bluetooth. You probably use 5G. That's why they're developing that technology. That's going to be used for the smart cars, and that's a whole bunch of data you can feed. So
that's fascinating.
I know. See, it's hard to. It's even hard to conceptualize, but
it is.
Just
it's
think
a
of
little
it.
Hard to think about.
Yeah, you got to think of it like a well-running machine.
Like it's all working together.
Yeah, everything's working together in unity. Yeah. It's kind of like you just get in the car and it pops you in the queue.
So like people won't be giving each other the fingers anymore.
No, you'll be on social media updating your pictures.
Imagine looking like the car is driving and they're just like, and they're just like giving each other
the cars aren't going to give themselves the fingers.
No, the people in the cars. That's what I'm saying. Like, would that be weird?
No, I mean, you could wave at people.
That's so creepy.
But yeah, road rage it kind of takes away road rage. I mean, what, you're going to be mad at AI? Be like, hey.
I know, imagine people are like giving the car the finger. They're just like,
that's not very nice, sir. You know, it'll
say
something to you.
That would be crazy if it talks smack to you. Yeah. That would be nuts.
Like, now you get to work late for that.
Yeah, be like, I'm stopping now. Be like,
now I'm making you late.
No, Terminator, stop. This is where we're at with it.
Just don't do that kind of stuff. Be nice.
Play nice with your AI.
Be nice to your AI.
Guy.
But even though your AI doesn't care, it's still going to get the job done.
Well, you know what? You should think iRobot.
Smart. So just be in fear then. Yes. If you mess up, you're going to get paid for it.
Careful.
You're going to get paid back.
Absolutely.
And then another thing that the AI can help with is like an aptitude assessment. So it'll point out like what things you're good at and then maybe things that you can improve in yourself. And then this can help with kind of like selecting what kind of career you should go for.
That's very. See,
if you
now
can be
that
an entrepreneur,
probably scares people too,
stuff like that.
I think that
that's scary.
We
right?
as human beings,
we want to just choose ourselves.
Well, yeah. Why box yourself in? Because you might not have the aptitude for being an entrepreneur, but it might turn out 20 years down the road after you've worked in corporate America that it is something that works for you, right? So
AI would. This is what AI would do. It would look at you and it would analyze if you took this path, this is what'll happen 30 years from now. If you took
That's
this
crazy.
path, this is what. See, it will be able to calculate that. It can simulate the whole
That's
environment.
nuts.
That's where you need quantum computing, though. That's where that comes into play.
Wow.
Because that's a crazy simulation to simulate somebody's life with all the variables.
That's crazy.
With quantum computing, it's possible.
And then I'm assuming AI would be able to tell you when you're going to die then.
Yeah, of course.
Wowzers.
Well, it's going to be based on, like, choices you tell it that you're going to
Yeah.
make. Like, I'm going to live here forever. Well, it says, all right, that's your life expectancy. If you go somewhere else, then, it changes. It could even tell you, if you want to live longer, move here. And it wouldn't be the same for everybody.
Oh, that's really interesting.
So, yeah, I mean, see how it can do stuff like
It
that,
takes
too?
the allure out of, like, these, like, yeah.
It makes things less mystifying, right?
It makes everything
But
so
you can
more
focus on-
quantifiable. And,
But it's
like,
good because then you can
methodical.
focus on stuff like space travel. And where do you really want to live? You want to live on planet Earth or planet Dirt?
Planet Dirt.
See, you get a choice.
Absolutely.
See, that's what makes that possible, space travel, because we get rid of the mundane things in life that we find.
Would you
is
also
fun.
replace artists and we would just have computers making
We're already
art?
doing that. I mean, there's one there's one
Mm-hmm.
performer. It's this Japanese AI. That's all the AI does, all the singing, and I don't know if it composes the song. It might do the lyrics too,
That's
though.
nuts.
But it's all by AI, and they have a projection when it performs in concert.
That's crazy.
I forgot the name of it, but yeah, there's something like that. So the best artists are going to be AI. It's going to surpass most humans because the AI artist doesn't get tired. It can perform every night, 30,000 days
Guys,
in a row.
put on your big boys and big girl pants. We are in for a ride, man. That's interesting.
And that kind of leads into my last thing is that AI would be like a stress reliever. So it knows how to cheer you up. It
Creepy.
would see that you're down and it would say, hey, I got your problem.
Creepy.
It'll put on your song, put on your favorite cup of
Creepy.
tea, things like
It
that.
makes
It'll
you
get your
seem
jammies
really
ready.
Outrageous, though.
It'll get your jammies ready. It'll
like,
come
how
down.
simple are you that, like, a freaking AI can make you feel better?
But I know we think we're so complex, but everything can be broken down
That's
to
so messed
habits.
up. Be like, are you in the mood for apple pie?
Yeah, see? But it doesn't have to make the apple pie. It'll make the smell, and then it'll trick you. It'll give you like something
Even
healthy.
better. Even
It'll
better.
slip something healthy, and you'll be like, wow, I feel better now.
Oh,
'Cause
celery
it'll put on
stick
your favorite
with the
show.
smell of apple pie.
Yeah, see, it can do that. It can trick you into being healthier.
Fantastic.
So, see, this is a good thing. And it'll still relieve stress. It can put on your favorite movie, stuff like that.
Now I'm feeling nervous.
You should be feeling happy. Now you don't have to worry about selecting your movies. It knows what you want to see.
Yeah, because I watch the same freaking movies over and over again.
Yeah,
but-
see? That's what's great about it.
No,
You don't even have to you won't have to lift a finger. You'll just walk and things will happen. It'll be crazy.
We still need to exercise and move our bodies, though.
It will exercise you too. You put the exoskeleton on, it's going to stretch you out. It'll put you in downward facing dog, like it'll do everything.
Your favorite position, huh?
It's going to break them hamstrings.
Pleasant.
See, that's AI's best combined with the machines, though. That's because AI on its own, I don't think is powerful, but when you combine it with machinery, that's where it gets crazy. Because you can wear it.
That's crazy.
That's the future though of AI. Is making life just easier for us. Or we could be like in that movie where we just sit on the chairs that float. We only have to move one finger to press a button. And that does everything. We press one button and that's our joy.
And then we just become jelly roll.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Nice.
that's another possibility. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? It's scenario time, guys. Scenario 1. Leandria is a movie critic who just saw Terminator Dark Fate, which has reignited her fear of AI. She decides that, from now on, she wants to live off the grid to decrease her chance of becoming the victim of the technology we love so much. Is she out of her mind, or just a cautious, preemptive person?
Listen, Leandra, I think ultimately we can love film, we can even see the implication of film in reality, but still we cannot lose track of the fact that it's still a fictional film. So yes, life imitates art and art imitates life, but we're not quite there yet. Last time I checked, when I go outside, I've not seen Terminator. So
no, he didn't.
No, not as yet. I wish he was Arnold Schwarzenegger so I could say what's up. But sadly, that is not the case.
You've seen the Terminator in the hallway. I think once at school in college. You thought you saw the Terminator.
Not Terminator. He was a scary demon clown.
Which is the Terminator in disguise, exactly. And you didn't even realize it. You could have seen
in
Terminator.
Ghost form.
AI is pretty powerful now.
Lord, Khalil.
Yeah, I mean, that's the power of AI. It could have AI from the future sent back its form and made you see the ghost form of it. I don't know.
Don't throw me under the bus right now. That's a shame.
Because you see Terminator. That's the funny thing.
I've not seen Terminator.
Possibly.
But what I think is ultimately, if she's going to go off the grid, she should make that decision without basing it off of a fictional film. That's one thing. Secondly, does everyone need to be on the grid? No. I mean, I think there's some people who are living their lives completely, happily, unattached to social media. That's their prerogative. I think that there's implications for you in the world that we live in when you do that, but it's your option to do that. I think that she should just make sure that she is getting a holistic view of the technology which she is fearing, right? If these fears are literally coming from one film and her own neuroses, I don't think that that's enough information to decide something like going off the grid and kind of living in a bunker and like really becoming a hermit for no apparent reason. Like, I think she should get a little bit more information, a little less emotion, a little bit more facts, and act appropriately. So no, I don't think she should do this. I think she's a little mistaken.
All right. I'm more extreme. I think she's out of her mind and she needs to seek professional help.
All right. Well, you're just throwing shade now.
But yeah, because she just seems crazy as heck to me. Like, I don't know.
But it does make you want to see the movie. Woohoo!
Yeah. That it drove this one person like to like a whole new lifestyle. That's pretty ridiculous. It's just a movie. Like, get it together.
Well, there's some movies that do make people that change their lives, right? But
that's a good one. I wonder if another episode could be about that. Scenario 2. Leslie is a rabid texter who just updated her messenger app, which now gives her suggestions on what message and even emoji to send to other people. Leslie wonders if letting an app think for you is such a good idea. Should she replace her messaging app or just bow down to her new messaging overlords?
Oh, interesting. I think I know I've appreciated that AI support, like in email, where it tells you thanks a lot, or it gives you the suggestions, and I think the automation is allowing you to work faster. I don't think it's necessarily thinking for you. I think it's assessing based on, if you end every email with like thanks, then it's not that out of the world to say, hey, maybe you should just say thanks, since that's what you've been doing for the last 500 emails. I mean, I think that let's not get too out of control, guys. And I think that as long as the pretext that's being loaded in the message isn't something contrary to what she would have said anyway, then go with it. It's not like it's sending messages without her prompting it, and it's like reaching out to people, and like it's not behaving in
reaching out on her behalf.
Yeah, like behaving in a nefarious way. So I think again, let's go more facts, less emotion, and let's be a bit more logical when possible.
Yeah, definitely don't get rid of the app just because it's automating some of the mundane things you do. That just seems ridiculous. It's helping you out, and you don't have to take the suggestions too. That's what's funny.
You don't have to.
It's not like this is the suggestion and you can't put anything else. It's more like, you're probably going to say this. You can say it, or you can just write whatever you want. It's up to you.
Exactly.
So it's definitely, I think she's going overboard to think this is the beginning of the end of thinking. It's not that serious. We're not up to that. Scenario 3. Jerusha is a doctor that thinks trying to fight AI is like throwing snowballs at lava. You can try all you want, but AI is coming nevertheless. He feels what will happen will happen. Is he right? Should we fight the coming of eventual true AI?
Wow, Khalil.
Wow for what? That's what I want to know.
Put that on a shirt. Wow for what?
Yeah. Say wow for what?
Nice. Very nice. Very nice, guys. I think ultimately, if you know something's coming, then if you continue to fight it, then you're just going to be frustrated for as long as that fight goes on. So I think ultimate or true AI, however you want to define it, is going to eventually be here, and it's going to think, and it may or may not end up in the Matrix style of life. And even if it does, then that's our fate. I think depending upon how you approach life, I approach life in the idea that like what's meant to be is meant to be. So something good can turn into something really awful. Something good can turn into something really beautiful. Unless you happen to be a seer, then there's nothing to fear other than just trying to, if you have a hand in the process itself, then and do the monitoring and make sure that whatever you control in that process is going according to plan. And if you don't, and you're just a consumer sitting by listening to this podcast, listen here, like you're, if you don't have a hand in this, then either find a way to have a hand in it or accept the reality coming your way. But I think reality has a funny way of just coming to be, and there's nothing really anything we can do about it.
Yeah, no, that's definitely what I think. Why are you trying to fight something that's already happening? You're gonna have to like figure out how to cope with it, I think, is better. But just trying to go straight up against it, it's like pointless. What are you doing with your life? It doesn't make sense. So come on, just be ready for it.
Get ready. Well, if you stay ready, you never have to get ready. So there you go.
Well, remember, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So,
powerful stuff.
So if you remember that kind of thinking, just go with the flow, because otherwise you're just gonna get burned by the lava. Because the lava's coming either way.
Have you watched Volcano recently?
No. I think lava's so cool because it looks like it's okay, but it's actually really crazy.
A death trap, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's just mud, but it's actually really hot. That's what's crazy.
Volcanoes scare me.
Volcanoes scare you, but I think the lava is the most deceiving.
Everything associated with a volcano scares me.
Because if you look inside a volcano or it's erupting, I mean, that's a violent thing. But if you just look at lava, the super hot one, it's like dark, so it's kind of just like mud. It's
creepy.
But then you touch it and you light on fire kind of thing.
Creepy.
That's crazy.
Creepy.
So don't mess with the lava.
And with that, we are at that time again.
Oh, are we?
Coming to the end of our 113th episode of
WokeNFree.
Okay, Donald Duck.
Oh no! What happened is I think the AI actually got in on our episode.
No, it
came back from the future.
Forgot how to speak normal.
That wasn't AI coming back from the future. I felt like
coming
it was.
back from the future.
Yeah. Remember when you went back to the future?
I was not in that film, Khalil. I think you're talking about what?
You were
Michael
extra
J.
on
Fox
set.
or
No, but you were an extra on set.
I was like.
Remember when you were so young? Yeah.
How old were we when that came out? Like.
Wasn't the first one like late 80s or something?
Yeah, we were. No,
so yeah, you were in the carriage.
Womp womp womp.
Oh, you weren't? I'm gonna go look at it again and see if I can spot you and prove it to you.
Alright, crazy. This was quite the episode discussing why AI is not the end of humanity. So will we leave you hanging for what our next episode will be about? Drum roll, please.
On our next episode, we will be discussing the top 5 life-changing movies to watch. Make sure you follow us on social media to follow along in the conversation, and make sure you tune in next week for WokeNFree Wednesday to join the conversation at WokeNFree.com.
If you'd like to be a guest on the show, please submit an upcoming topic for our show on our contact us page at WokeNFree.com. So that is WokenFree.com. Granted, we are pretty much booked up for the rest of this year. However, if you want to squeeze in some content for 2020, now would be the time to hit us up. And of course, on social media, if after listening to this, you are immediately sparked to want to share something with us, you can totally find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at WokeNFree. And you know the deal with sponsorship, guys. If you're interested in advertising on the WokeNFree platform, what do you have to do? Hit us up on our contact us page at WokeNFree.com.
If you didn't already subscribe, please do. Share the episode, and make sure you come back to join the conversation every Wednesday for Woken Free Wednesdays. Remember, Woken Free is more than a podcast, it is a way of life. Until next time.